Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you the daily Tesla report for Tuesday, September 19th, 2023. Before we click through the charts, as usual, please click like if you haven't already. Subscribe to the Wicked Stocks YouTube channel. Share the content, if you would, with friends and colleagues. And check out wickedstocks.com, where we offer a full suite of both daily and weekly analytical videos, just like the Tesla report, daily analysis in the SPY and the Triple Q, that is the S&P 500 and NASDAQ 100 ETFs, weekly analysis in the S&P 500 index, the NASDAQ 100 index, and the long bond ETF, the TLT, as well as two individual stock picks every week that you never see on YouTube that cater to the 3 to 5 week swing trader out to the 3 to 5 month near-term investor. We're always looking for 20% moves or more on those underlying stock picks. And we also offer a 5-day free trial up front. So you sign up for wickedstocks.com, you can check everything out for 5 full days. And if you don't like what you see, you can cancel your subscription at no cost to you whatsoever. So check out wickedstocks.com. So let's jump into the charts. This is a weekly chart. I'll start with the big picture, work my way into the day itself, just to go over the fact that we topped out at this channel top a couple of months ago, now at 315.61. Once we were testing it, mentioning how the channel bottom should be considered in reach within 1 to 2 months. We tested that about 5 weeks ago, this week at 230.24. Following the test of 230.24, we are now saying that over the next 2 to 3 months, we can rally back to the channel top. That is at 333.03. On the way up, we did have, a meaningful buy signal. There are several that need to occur to actually reach into the 310s or 330s over the coming weeks. But the first one did complete above the 242.55 descending 2/3 speed line. And quickly, within 2 days, we tested the next one, or came very close to testing it, I should say, that rising channel top that is a month in the making, that is now well above the market at 291.41. And the channel bottom to that channel top is at 259.30, and mentioning how after having come so close to testing that 291.41 channel top, you should allow over the coming week or two, and we are a solid week into it now, a test of channel support that is now 259.30, preceded by a rising 1/3 speed line that is projected off the same 212.36 low from mid-August. This zone well suited to absorb weekly selling pressures. And from here, and I'll say perhaps through the balance of September trade, because from here we can round back up to the channel top that is presently at 291.41 and rising. And that is the 1 to 2 week dynamic. Buying the upper 250s today and selling the lower 290s and climbing over the next week or two. That is the 1 to 2 week swing trade. Now, for the day itself, I do have 267.58. As you recall, in hindsight, I regret calling this a session containment level, but had we bottomed out there for the day, I would have loved the fact that I called it a session containment level. But it is, I've reduced it to a minor point only. And let me show you the 30-minute bar chart, the same exact formation shown here at 257.58. You can see how, we broke below it and then, back above it a bit. We traded around it a lot. That happens a lot. You probably are familiar with that. You've got a long-term, say a 200-day moving average or some other, trend study, analysis that you're following. When you put it on a 5-minute bar chart, you can see how the market just sort of gravitates toward it like a magnet on an intraday basis, above and below. But we certainly closed below that structure, 257.58, which leads me to think that we probably will today test that 261.48 down to 259.30 region, where we can bottom out for the week itself, quite possibly the balance of September trade, and from here turn back up into the upper or the lower 290s and climbing over the next week or two. I will say, in terms of intraday activity, in terms of an intraday upside pivot point, a level that may well contain buying for a good part of the day is 271.65. So 267.58, feel free. I'm just kind of illustrating it here. There's still a case to be made for calling it a pivot point for the day. We are below it, and below which I do think that the 259.30 to 261.48 region is likely, where we can bottom out for the week itself. Now, if we close below 259.30, that does change things just a bit. And I would expect, I don't think I show it anywhere, but if this is not the same exact line study, but if 259.30 were right here, which is a good representation, this line, then we have what I would call a 2 to 3 week sell signal back to 229.84. Long-term support once again, and once again on the weekly chart is found at 230.24. So you know how to rephrase this, that if we close today below 259.30, I do think we've got a 2 to 3 week sell signal back into the very low 230s. It could be within a couple of weeks, could be by the end of next week. And, you know, on the way down, we'll have meaningful support levels that will be able to contain session activity. I'm not outlining those right now because I think it's a bit irrelevant at this point in time. But if we close below 259.30 and you're long, let's say 290 or 300, sorry, wrong image, 290 or 300 or 315 out of the money calls, you know, that expire over the next month, I would consider liquidating those because I do think if we close below 259.30, we do have a realistic 2 to 3 week target in the low 230s. And that is an opportunity, if you're going to liquidate those out of the money calls, to then reach for 230, 232 out of the money puts that don't expire. I would go a month out on the expiration date. It could take the better part of 2 weeks to realize, and you don't want to go just 2 weeks out to watch your premium decay to nothing as you approach your proper strike price. So that is that. For the day itself, I'm going to go back to, where are you? This chart. 271.65. So yes, if we push or open today above 267.58, 271.65 is likely where we can top out on an intraday basis. This is a 30-minute bar chart, okay? And what I like about 30-minute bar charts is they do behave similarly to daily bar charts in terms of the dynamics. For instance, the low of the high. The highest we've been since the August low is this high here. I don't know exactly what it is, 278 and change. 278.39, I believe. So the low of that high is 271.65, and you can see how subsequently it acted as a pretty solid pivot point. I opted though for this classic channel bottom as our pivot point for Monday. We closed below it. We're heavy below it on an intraday basis, but in terms of turning decidedly bullish into later day through the rest of the day, it would be pushing or opening above 271.65, which I don't show anywhere here, but I will show, where can I show it? I think this is a good chart here. If we push or open today above 271.65, and if you can imagine, you can see the low of the high from Friday, Monday's high on Monday. That is the same vicinity in the 271 handle. So if we push through 271.65, I think you can imagine that it is quite possible that we could actually reverse all the way up to 280.93 on an intraday basis. All the levels on the way up, 74.39 and 78.39, are capable of intraday containment. But in terms of containing a high for the day, 280.93. If we close today above 280.93, that should yield within the week, possibly Wednesday, but Thursday, Friday likelier, this rising 291.41 channel top, where we can top out through next week. If tested, be ready for what I would call the 260s, upper 250s right now, 259.30 and climbing. So, you know, if we rally, I think that is what the takeaway here. Dipping into the 250s, you can then anticipate the rising channel top at 291.41. Rallying into the low 290s, you can then anticipate the upper 250s and rising. Now, there's no, you know, it's obviously not a predictable in self-determined. It's not a determined. How should I put it? Predetermined. It's not as if these levels, and I know you're aware of this, that they're going to hold for a week. They could hold for a week, and that's the chance we take with these line studies. And so we came very close to testing the 291.41 channel top just about a week ago, and we've fallen off since. And now we're ready to test the channel bottom at 259.30, which is a pivot point through the rest of September. We can bottom out there for the week itself, and from there presumably rally into the low 290s and climbing within a week or two of doing so. And inversely, closing below 259.30, a 1 to 2 week swing traders can play the short side into the low 230s. That's about as simple as I can make it. I'm going to leave it at that. closing on 10 minutes. I'll be back, of course, tomorrow with Wednesday's Tesla. Please click like, share, subscribe, and check out wickedstocks.com.